everybody and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at the Daniel Smith Jean Haines Master Artist set, and I'm going to be doing a review on this. Now, I've already done a full and comprehensive review on the Daniel Smith watercolors, so I'll leave that linked up in the iCards and in the description box down below in case you want to go check that out. But since that review many years ago, I have definitely collected and acquired a lot more Daniel Smith colors, as well as this new set here. So I was thinking in the future, after we take a look at this set, I was going to do a video, an updated review slash kind of swatch with me video, where we could swatch all the colors together in live or in real time. Now, swatch with me videos I think are helpful. I've heard some very few negative comments here and there on the internet about swatch videos. They're like, oh, it's such a waste of paint or resources. But I disagree with that entirely. I think it's a very helpful video to have, especially for those who don't have access to an art store locally and you're shopping online. Sometimes it's the only way you can see the colors and decide if it's something that's right for you to purchase or not. So I find them helpful, so I was thinking about doing that. But again, today we're going to be taking a look at this Jean Haines Master Artist set. Now, I got mine at Michael's. That's why this box is a little bit beat up. I ordered it through Michael's online, and I have to say, the shipping on Michaels.com takes forever. And I don't know. I think their prices are higher than anybody else, really. They're higher than Dick Blick, Jerry's Artorama. I really don't recommend shopping through Michaels.com most of the time, but it was a Black Friday sale, and I had like $15 in vouchers, and so I picked up this set. Jean Haines is a watercolor artist. There's a picture of her right there. The colors that you get in this set are Cascade Green, Green Apatite Genuine, Opera Pink, Quinacridone Magenta, Imperial Purple, Nickel Azo Yellow, Aussie Red Gold, Moon Glow, Undersea Green, and Lunar Blue. Now, some of my issues with this set, even though it's a fun set, and I think it was something great for artists, a gift for the holidays, for artists that really kind of have everything, I still see some issues here with this color selection. First off, it says Master Artist Set, but if you were a beginner or you didn't have any watercolors at all, this is definitely not like a split primary type thing where you could kind of mix a lot from this. Is this a very specific kind of color selection? And the other thing I don't like about it is that most of the colors here are convenient mixtures. Like Imperial Purple is just ultramarine blue and Quinacridone Rose or Magenta, so you can easily mix that. Lunar Blue is Phthalo Blue plus Black. Undersea Green is like Ultramarine Blue and Quin Gold. Aussie Red Gold, Cascade Green, all convenience mixtures. And then the Opera Pink, I would not include something so fugitive in a Master Artist set. I'm just going to put that right out there. But we're going to take a look at the colors and hope that everything's here. Now, I have a feeling that these sets usually come with a brochure or something in there. My box is empty. Not sure if that's because I got it through Michael's and the box was a little beat up. But anyhow, now the Moon Glow has that PR177 in it, and I have a feeling that it's going to be fugitive as well. So for me, that's like two strikes against this set already, is that there is two somewhat fugitive colors in there. Now, I will definitely swatch everything out here in this video, and I'm going to be setting up a palette. This is the Meaden Porcelain Palette, 18 Wells. I'll leave this linked up in the description box. It's not an affiliate link. YouTube is my hobby, not my job, so I promise I won't see a penny of it if you click on it, but it's a fantastic palette and a fantastic deal. Though I'm going to swatch everything out, I will not be putting Opera Pink on my porcelain palette. Instead, I'm going to swap that out for Daniel Smith's Quinacridone Pink because I am a professional artist. I care a lot about my artwork, and that's fugitive. So now that these colors are mostly dry, I will say Moon Glow is one of those colors I feel like I never really got on as much as some other artists, but I mean, it is beautiful. It's gorgeous. Good pigmentation. I just wish they'd swap out that Anthracnone Red because it will fade. Now, let me say, I keep mentioning light fastness in this video, but I'm a fine artist that cares a lot about their artwork, the longevity of it, and sells my work. If you don't care so much about light fastness, then don't worry about it. Like, don't let somebody tell you have to worry about it, or there's rules and right and wrong and all that kind of stuff. I'm not trying to say that at all. But from a fine artist perspective, and this is a master artist set, there are some critiques here in this color selection that I'd like to make. And the first being that, yeah, you get Nickel Azo yellow, and that's a nice yellow to mix, but you know, I think if you, for a mixing set, you'd really probably want something more like this. The fact that there's no clear yellow is going to limit you quite a bit. There's no clean blues like phthalo blue or ultramarine blue. This is very limiting. This really is very specific and limiting of a set. I don't like that opera pink being a part of a fine artist master set because it is fugitive. And we get 3 convenience greens. And that makes sense because they didn't give you a way to mix your own greens at all because there's no clear blue here. I mean, you really are very limited in how you can tweak these things. Another critique that I would have is about the Green Apatite Genuine. I'm putting air quotes around that. I don't know what's really in this tube, and Daniel Smith has confirmed that they don't have to tell you what's in here. And it's all good and genuine and legal, and that's fine, but it's not very integral. And as a professional artist who really does care about what's in my paint, you know, I'm going to do my own lightfast testing, and in fact, I'm starting a series of lightfast videos on every brand, which will start next year because it's been being tested right now, and I'll let you know how it does. I have a feeling it will do okay. It looks like there's some phthalo green in the mix here. Maybe raw umber granulating in that. I don't know. It's all speculation. I have no idea what's really in this tube, and Daniel Smith will not, the Daniel Smith company, not Daniel Smith the artist, is not going to tell you what's in here. And their answer is, well, if you don't like it, don't buy it. So me personally, I wouldn't buy their Primatech colors, but it came in this set. It is beautiful. It's unique. I love the granulation, but it bothers me from that standpoint of not knowing what's in it for a lot of reasons. Also, how do I know about the toxicity of this? You don't. Because you don't know what's in it, and that kind of bothers me. So that I'm not going to talk any more about it, but I had to add my 2 pennies on that. The other thing that bothers me critique-wise about this color selection is that it is incredibly limited because everything here is like a convenient mixture with the exception of these 2 colors. And so you didn't give me an ability to mix my own green. You didn't really give me an ability to mix my own purple. No, not really. But they gave you a purple, so I suppose that's nice. I don't feel like this is whole and complete within itself. I really think that you have to add some things, sub some things in here. Again, I think it's a fun set, and I wanted to try something different that was outside the box from all the other basic sets that I have. And I'm happy from that standpoint to try new things, but you should know if you're thinking about purchasing it. Now, I think that as a reviewer on YouTube, some of my reviews are a little bit more critical than others you might see, and that's because, once again, YouTube is my hobby and not my job. No one's paying me, nobody's sending me free product to review, I'm not sponsored, I'm just an artist and an art supply enthusiast, and I'm passing along what I really think. So, little disclaimer there. So let's go ahead and see what kind of colors that we can mix here. All right, so I just have a back piece of some scrap watercolor paper here because I don't want to waste paper just to play around and do some color mixing. So it'll work perfectly fine, and I'm going to take some of the quinacridone magenta and mix it into that Nickel Azo yellow to see what kind of mix we can get. So here it is more toward the magenta. I doubt that we can mix a scarlet red. Red is a primary color, so it's not really a color that you can mix, but maybe we can fake it a little bit. Nah, no. Not with the magenta, not with the light fast colors I have available to me. Maybe you could come a little bit closer with that with that opera, but again, you're going to have fugitive issue. Now, these are very earthy, nice colors, and they're very usable, but it's just not going to get me a red. So let's see, what can we mix together here? Let's take some of, oh, you know what, maybe we can come closer with like this Aussie red gold. This is beautiful, by the way. I understand why some people really like this Aussie red gold. It's nice. Maybe if we mix a little bit of the magenta into that. Their quinacridone magenta, like I said, it is not quite as vibrant as other brands, but they're not using PR122, they're using PR202. This is gorgeous, this mixture here. Look at that. I actually love that. Oh, that is beautiful. That's gorgeous. Beautiful. It's not red, but it's beautiful. It's very earthy and natural. Just take a look at that. That is really pretty. I'm going to take some of that undersea green. This is a beautiful color as well. Very natural, very earthy. I can see this being beautiful in rose leaves. You know, that dark, gorgeous rose, the leaves, the foliage of roses is usually dark and beautiful like this. And that granulation would really add something extra. That is beautiful. Let's try mixing a little bit of the yellow they give us, which is Nickel Azo Yellow. Now, just to be transparent, the reason that this set has that Prop 65 on it is because of this color, probably, because nickel metal can be toxic. It is toxic, I should say. I'm sorry. It is toxic, but you know, just be careful. Look at the beautiful array of very earthy greens that you can get. And down here, this almost looks like a green gold hue right there. Isn't that beautiful? It's a little dead looking, but you know, if you were trying to paint a landscape and the foliage around the end of autumn, that's the colors that you would see, you know. So for me, I think that's beautiful. Many of the colors in this set, when you start mixing, are going to be kind of muted. And that's just the way that it is because the colors are already muted to begin with, many of them, but also they're convenience mixtures of 2 or 3 pigments in some instances. And because of that, the more pigments you have, the more kind of muddy that the mixture will get. But sometimes you want that. So this is that Nickel Azo Yellow mixed with the orange. Not a huge difference there. I don't think that's a very exciting mix. And when I say orange, I mean the Aussie red gold. So this is a very interesting set, I have to say. Okay, let's take some of this lunar blue and mix a tiny bit of the violet in. And see what kind of a color we can get. That's almost like moon glow. Almost. I don't think it'll granulate and dry quite the same way, but it's similar. All right, this is that color Green Apatite Genuine. And let's see what happens when we mix some of that Nickel Azo Yellow. Nickel Azo Yellow is, I would think of it more of like an earth yellow, and it tends to be the base most oftentimes for your quinacridone gold hues. It's a warm kind of earthy yellow, and there's what happens when you mix that in. So unfortunately, all of the greens in this selection are somewhat dark and desaturated. All right, so I did a little bit of color mixing. I like some of these mixes. For example, the Aussie Red Gold and the Magenta. I like this kind of earthy scarlet kind of shade that I was able to get. I like the kind of earthy, neutral, desaturated feel or vibe of this set, but unfortunately, every green in here, and you really only have two greens, even though it's called Cascade Green, it's more bluish. When you try and lighten it up with the yellow provided is a very earthy, warm yellow. And so that means that you can't really go yellow without going dead in the foliage colors here. Because this is, I mean, this looks like if this was the leaf on your flower, the flower would have gone by now. I mean, the flower is not so fresh anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't give us any other way to lighten that up or make that a little bit more yellowy. So unfortunately, I just feel like you need to add another yellow. If you're going to get this set, I highly recommend that you add another yellow to this set. I'm not going to mix every color mixing possibility in this video, but judging from what I have mixed and from what I know as an artist, I know how these colors are going to mix. You have a lot of dark kind of desaturated colors, and then you've got this one super bright color, the oddball. I don't know. I have to be really honest with you guys. So far, I'm just going to be honest. I think you can tell I'm not a huge fan of this set for a couple of reasons. The first being that many of these are convenience mixtures of 2 and even 3 pigments. The color mixing possibilities are very, very limited with this application. You're not going to get very, if you like vibrant bright colors, you're not getting any of that here. I think what would have changed this, maybe if she had done a 12 color set and added a warm red and maybe a primary to cool yellow, this could have been a lot better. I don't really understand why add Aussie Red Gold when if you have the magenta and that yellow, you are already kind of there. I mean, you're going to be pretty close already. Let's mix those two. Well, no, it worked out kind of more that way, didn't it? It's not quite as vibrant. Let's see. Add a little of that to that. I mean, it's similar, but it's not going to be that glowing and vibrant, so I'll give them that. I like that color. This is a weird set. Can we admit that? This is a strange set. I've never seen anything quite like it. But the colors that I do like from this set, even though I can mix this myself, the undersea green is really nice. I do like the moon glow. I wish that it wasn't fugitive. I think you're going to have more issues with the tints of this shade. The mass tone would probably be okay. I like that Cascade Green. I think that is really beautiful. And I have tried to mix this on my own. In fact, I will show you. Here you can see I did try and mix this shade on its own with the yellow and the blue that I had, and it's never going to be like this. I just don't have the ability to mix it exactly like that. I think they must be using a different PB15 than I am, because there's no like :3 at the end. I might repurchase that, even though it's a convenience mixture, because I have a hard time. I don't think it would ever come out quite like that on my own. So I'm a fan of that color. I like the green apatite shade. I just wish I knew what was in it. Their quinacridone magenta is really beautiful, but it's closer to like a red violet, in my opinion, than like a true quinacridone magenta. I don't know if on the camera is going to show that or not. Their Opera Pink is lighter and brighter than Winsor & Newton's. It's beautiful, but I won't be adding it to my palette because it's fugitive. The Imperial Purple you can mix on your own. I highly suggest you mix your own Moon Glow because of that PR177. I wish they changed that. And this blue, the Lunar Blue, I don't know how useful it really is, to be honest. It's nice for special effects, but how is that when you mix it into the greens provided, for example? Like, let's kind of grab some of that lunar blue and add a little undersea green to it. I mean, it's just, you can't mix a purple with it. You can't mix a green with it. So, I mean, there it is mixed into undersea green. It's just going to go very gray and kind of muddy on you. Let's try mixing a green with the lunar blue and the nickel azo yellow, because those are the blue and the yellow provided in the set. All right, if I haven't mentioned this already in this video, it probably bears repeating even if I had. Daniel Smith watercolors are very generously filled, and they will kind of come spurting out of there the minute you open the tube for the first time. So do make sure that you have your palette ready, or whatever, wherever you plan to put these paints. So here is the yellow and that undersea green, not undersea green, I'm sorry, the lunar blue. So this is the most like vibrant green mix possible. And add a little bit more. As you can see, it's you know, I mean, it's nice, but we keep coming back sort of to a similar green time and time again. See how these are all different mixtures. This is the green apatite with the gold, or yellow, I'm sorry. This is undersea green with the yellow, and here is the lunar blue with the yellow. You know, we keep coming back to this sort of saturated brownish yellow green, and you're going to keep coming back to it because there's no really vibrant mix possible here. All right, so I just wanted to show you, here is the magenta mixed with the lunar blue, more toward the magenta. It's somewhat similar to their rolls of ultramarine, and then if we mix it more toward the lunar blue, you almost start to get something that looks quite a bit like the moon glow. And it's nearly close enough, and it's going to granulate in a very similar way. I mean, not identical, but it's nearly close enough that you might, I don't know, I kind of question why it's here in such a limited set to have a way to mix a color that's really super similar, you know. And here it is lighter and kind of diluted. It does granulate, so I don't know. But there it is. Everything in this set, for the most part, is going to be, it's going to mix out very, very desaturated and very neutral looking, very natural looking. You might really love that. And so if you do, this set really is for you. I also think that if you're an artist that has a lot of watercolor paints and sets already, and you've already got this kind of setup and, you know, deal with your split primaries and a few extras, and you've been working with this for a long time, this can be a fun challenge to work with some colors that are a little bit different. And so that's the appeal of this palette to me. And why I wanted to purchase it for myself, but I still want to add some things to this that would make it more whole and cohesive. So I think that this could be a really great gift for artists around the holiday season. The color selection issues that I've mentioned in this video, I do want to say really are personal preference. But in terms of the quality of the paint, it is excellent. You know, regardless of the pigments being used, Daniel Smith's paint quality is very, very good. There's no shortage of pigmentation, and they're going to perform for you the way you want. Do you like colors and mixes like this? That's really what it comes down to, and I think something you have to ask yourself. I don't think this is a beginner set. I really don't. I'm going to say that right off the bat. If you are a beginner and you're looking for a set that's going to teach you color theory and going to give you the most versatile color mixing possibilities, go with their essential set of 6. You get the PY3, the New Gamboge, Scarlet Pyrrole, Quin Rose, and these two blues here, Ultramarine Blue and Phthalo Blue. And that's going to go a lot farther than a set like this. This is quite specific. Okay, so I have just finished setting up my little palette and doing the paint out here, so I thought we'd go ahead and take a look. I want to show you some of the changes that I made and wrap up and give you some of my final thoughts on this Daniel Smith Jean Haines Master Artist set. So let me show you the colors that I decided to put in this palette, and pretty much, I'm sorry about that banging noise. Let me just put this to the side because it will need time to dry. Pretty much, I kept all of the colors from this Master Artist set except for the Cascade, not the Cascade Green, the Green Apatite Genuine. I swapped out the Opera Pink for Daniel Smith's Quinacridone Pink. You can see it's a very bright pink, not quite as bright, but very bright still, and it is light fast. I also went ahead and mixed my own Moon Glow hue. It is very, very close, but not spot on exactly, I won't lie, but it's really super duper close. I mean, it's just a hair's away from it. And I got that recipe again from Kimberly Crick, I believe the artist's name is. I used the same Viridian and French Ultramarine. I'm sorry about my hands all stained up, but I used Quinacridone Coral for the cool red. It's really, really close. It's super, super close, but it's not exact. But of course, you could never get the mix to be identical without using identical pigments. And in this instance, it just wasn't possible to use the identical pigment because that PR177 is fugitive. It's such a shame because, gosh, it is so gorgeous. But the hue that I came up with looks really, really close. Well, I didn't come up with it. Kimberly came up with it, but that I mixed up here came up really, really close. So I added in Hansa Yellow Medium by Daniel Smith because I feel like the palette really did need a clean, primary, sort of clear yellow. Kept the Nicole Azo Yellow, which I am surprised that I really fell in love with. This is a pigment that I usually kind of overlook because it's mixed in with the Quinacridone Golds hues that you will find from Daniel Smith, Sennelier, you know, really any brand is using this as the base, and then they mix in like Quinacridone Burnt Orange. But I like it. So overall, I think this set did its job in making me feel inspired to try new color mixes and try new colors and sort of work myself outside the box a little bit. That Aussie Red Gold, I fall in love with it. Again, not a color I would have purchased for myself, but I actually really like it. And I found that I loved it mixed with Viridian, which didn't come with the Jean Haines set, but I swapped it out. Instead of using the Genuine Green Apatite, for my granulating green, I grabbed Viridian instead. Quinacridone Coral I added to this palette because it is a color I don't use a lot, but it's a wonderful, fabulous color. And I thought that it fit in really well with the vibe of what's happening here. It's a nice, transparent, kind of warm red coral, and it's not something you see a lot in warm reds, is transparency. I added a Pyrrole Red because I feel like I need Pyrrole Red. I need a red. There's no red in the set, but I need a red. Quinacridone Pink, like I said, I swapped it out, the Opera. You could see it's not exactly the same because that dye is very fluorescent, but it is a nice bright pink, and it's as pink as you'd see in nature, certainly, and I really like it. Kept their Quinacridone Magenta. I usually don't use Daniel Smith's Quin Magenta. I usually prefer to use Winsor & Newton's or Coors because their Quin Magenta is not quite as vibrant. It sits somewhere between Quin Violet and Quin Magenta, and if I'm not mistaken, this pigment that they're using is a little less light fast, but it is very nice. Imperial Purple, a convenience mixture that I would never purchase for myself because I always have Quin Magenta and Ultramarine on my palette, but certainly I'll use it here because I didn't put Ultramarine on here. Like I said, I got my Moon Glow hue there. I love Moon Glow. I just wish that it was light fast. I used blue indianthrin from Sennelier because I wanted to add, since there was absolutely no true blue or primary blue on here at all, and this blue has the black added, I feel like it needed a blue, but ultramarine blue is too safe. It's a blue that I always have on every single palette, so I swapped it out for this one. And then I did add the phthalo blue because even though lunar blue has it, it needed it. It needed some kind of clear primary blue on it, or I knew I'd kick myself. And again, I always use ultramarine, so I don't use phthalo blue enough, but since it's the option I have here, I'm gonna have to use it. That lunar blue is beautiful. I do like that cracked glass effect that the lunar black gives, and so even though I never use black watercolor, I purchased Daniel Smith's lunar black. I fell for it. Cascade green, that color is gorgeous. I want to show it to you again in the large paint out. It's gorgeous, and even though it's a convenience mixture, and I ordinarily, again, don't purchase convenience mixtures, this is when I feel like there's something special happening with this mixture. I can't mix this myself. I have their raw sienna. I have their phthalo blue mixed together. I don't get this. Not exactly, not this vibrant and with that lovely granulation. So I fell in love with that. I found some new favorites in this set. So it did what it was supposed to do, and I would purchase that in a large tube. I love it. Again, the Viridian, the undersea green, I like it. I like it, and I don't think that when I mix it myself it comes out quite like that either. Yellow ochre, because I have to have yellow ochre on every palette or I knew I wouldn't use it. This is Permanent Alizarin Crimson, also by Sennelier. It's really an earth tone. That's why I put it in here. It's really not a crimson red. If I compare it to like Core's Permanent Alizarin Crimson, you can see that's really more brown. It's more earthy. It's a nice replacement for like transparent red iron oxide, I suppose, but it's more red than that even. And then burnt umber, because I always have burnt sienna on a palette. And again, I really wanted to challenge myself with this palette that I was setting up here and use something different. And it neutralizes out very well with the blue indianthrin to make a really nice, deep, rich black. So I threw that on there. So, like I said, my final thoughts about the Daniel Smith Jean Haines Master Artist set is that this is a really fun set. I think it's for that artist that kind of already has everything, already has all those primaries and standard basic colors, and wants to try something new, something fun. But I think on its own, it's not a whole cohesive set. I feel like you don't have everything you need. I definitely would not recommend it to a beginner. I just don't think it's complete within itself. And I also don't like the fact that so many of the colors, well, not so many of the colors, but two of them definitely were fugitives. So that's not suitable for professional artwork. But overall, I'm really happy with this and how it came out, and I love it. So that wraps up the video. That's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you found today's video helpful or enjoyable, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos coming in the future. And as always, have a great day, a blessed day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.